Okay, so today I have the luxury of talking about the effects of drugs and alcohol on young adults by no other than myself. So before we begin, I chose this topic because I have firsthand knowledge of seeing people deal with this through personal experience with friends and family members. So let's begin. So this is my lovely poster that we all were assigned to do on the effects of drugs and alcohol on young adults, especially teens and people that are, under a certain age, under like 30. So yeah. What I mean when I say drugs and alcohol. When I talk about drugs and alcohol, I mean drugs from anywhere from painkillers to hardcore narcotics, so that can include marijuana, heroin, fentanyl, opiates, any sort of drugs that can impair you, to even oxytocin and oxycontin and other drugs, including steroids as well, or even marijuana, which we all know is common up here in Plattsburgh. When I talk about alcohol, I count alcohol as even if it's 0.1% alcohol or like 75% alcohol, because alcohol is alcohol, and doesn't matter if it's a low or high percentage, it's still a drug that is common within teens and young adults, and especially in college age students and kids that are older than 12 years old, as statistics will show. Staggering statistics. In the US, 46 million people over the age of 12 years old have had at least one or more substance abuse, like use disorders, just alone in 2021, according to Health Day, which is an article that I found. About 43% of all young adults ages 19 to 22 have used marijuana, which is a staggering almost half the population. So, first couple years to like end of your college career, around 33% of people aged 12 to 20 years of age in rural areas have abused alcohol compared to 28.5 in cities. So in a way, the smaller places you are in, the more it's commonly used, probably just because it's easier to get access to and easier to hide than if you are in a city where there are several like authorities, including cops and other law enforcement agents. Nearly 60% of teens have had at least one alcoholic drink by the age of 18. This is due to the fact that parents or guardians or older individuals, including family members, siblings, or friends that are over the age of 21, have bought them alcohol and they have consumed it via parties or just consumed it on their own just to try and, you know, not a surprising fact when you think about it, especially in nowadays where people are able to have like fake IDs, and those are quite common. Just over 100,000 Americans have died due to overdoses of drugs in 2021 alone. This is extremely high compared to past years, and it continues to show that there will be more over the course of time. So this is just the beginning of probably much worse to come, as scientists have said. Opiates were responsible for 76,000 of those overdoses. That is more than 3/4 of all those deaths just due to opioids. That's not including alcohol poisonings or any other drug overdoses, but you know, that's still a staggering, like a huge number if you think about it, out of that number. So next is court cases and case studies that I have found. There have been several case studies that not only came out via the CDC or the JAMA or the Journal of American Medical Association in the last couple of years. They are coming out more often now that this issue has become an even bigger issue in the past several years, especially with the war on drugs becoming a more prominent problem in America and across the globe. And a number, like, in addition to that, an overwhelming number of how many teens and young adults have used drugs and alcohol have substantially increased over the last few years, and it continues to uptick, and it will continue to uptick until this is solved. There are even studies that may show that there are genes within a human being that code for the connection between drug use in individuals and those who are higher risk of using drugs and misusing them, which is quite surprising, but not really, because genes do influence who you are and how things work in your body. So if there is a connection, which science does say there is a chance, you have to wonder how many of the people that use drugs have this gene. So next we are going to talk about why drugs and alcohol are used by teens and young adults. Most commonly, they're used to help young teens and young adults fit in to social groups because of peer pressure. It's especially common in high schools and even as younger classmen in college. A lot of kids just want to see the effects and how they feel and want to feel the adrenaline and the high that they experience when they are stoned or under the influence of any other narcotic or alcohol themselves. They want to be able to feel like they're a member of a community, so doing this will allow them to feel like they are part of something bigger. And then there are some that just want to experiment and figure out, like, is that what they want to do, or is that like, no, like that's not what I'm into. Personally, myself, I have not done either, and I'm not interested in any of it just because I know the consequences, but I think that it's especially hard when kids don't know, especially younger teens that are in like high school and just trying to fit in. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the long-term effects of using alcohol, but also drinking. There's respiratory issues. It can raise your heart and blood pressure, can cause serious brain damage, especially in chronic usage of it and continuous usage of it. Heart attacks are quite common as long as you have used it for prolonged periods of time. There's always a possibility of overdosing or ending up with severe alcohol poisoning, which can kill you, which is quite possible. It can also contribute to mental health issues or worsen anxiety and depression because it's one of those drugs that just has a reverse effect on you. It may make you feel good at a period of time, but when you're coming down from the high or being drunk, it just makes your mood shift. It can cause severe organ damage or destroy your organs to the point you may need organ transplants, or you could seriously like die because you basically killed your organs. It can weaken your immune systems, which can cause you to die from simple diseases or infections. It can change your behavior, which, I mean, you can be fine one day and then snap the next. So unless you really want to become like what people would consider like bipolar because of it, well, I wouldn't do it. And it can also cause problems with sleep deprivation because when you are stoned or you are drunk, you're not really tired because you're wide awake because of the effects it has on your body, which long periods without sleep can make you sick or even kill you. So here are a few diagrams. They're not super big, but they just show the health effects they can have on your body. Like alcohol can drain your lungs, your kidney, your liver, your pancreas, your eyes, your bones, basically every organ and most parts of your body. In extensive use of alcohol and with drugs, it can affect pretty much everything that alcohol can do, but could do it much faster, especially if it's something you do regularly and more often than you drink. And those are my citations of just some of the sources I used. So, on side note of all this, I would deeply and strongly encourage you all not to use drugs or alcohol until you're at least legal age to drink. I know that is especially hard knowing that we are college students here, but when you look at the pros and the cons, you realize there is more cons and health concerns that are caused by these substances, and this is especially true in teens and young adults. It is still a problem in, you know, people who are adults, but it also is going to be an issue for the time being, and it will always be a problem. So, hope you enjoyed. Sorry if I stuttered and if I had an accent or you could not completely understand me. First time doing this, so please don't be too harsh. Okay, thank you.